everyone. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. Wishing all of you a very happy new year. If you celebrate it, if you don't, वैसे ही जीते रहो. Before we start with the monologue, as always, I want to begin the new year and the monologue with what I do always. So, to the ones who have freshly joined the membership or the ones who rejoin in the last 9 days, I will thank you all. So, Ghansham Ambekar, Himanshu Satvik, Mr. RK540, Karthik Devendran, Pranav Gajjar, PM Sagar, Suresh Valaya Putur, Mohammad आगे का मैं बोल नहीं सकता निश्चित वीए निखिल मिश्रा दीपक कुड़वे simple life Sydney D'Souza Gaurav Chand. Thank you very much for becoming a member of the Charvak podcast. As all of you know, this podcast literally survives on members only. इस पॉडकास्ट को सिर्फ इस पॉडकास्ट के मेंबर चलाते हैं. So what do you get when you become a member of the Charvak podcast? Well, you get members only content, and there are two tiers for the members on the Charvak podcast. One is the Seekers tier and one is the Speak With Me tier. The Seekers tier, you will get access to the entire nine books and I think around 6 or 7 papers. I don't remember how many because no, more than I think it was 8 or 9 because we did the Southern Arc one too. So you approximately get already discussed that much content. The theme is Aryan invasion, Aryan migration, and out of India theory, both pro and against arguments. And then right now we are discussing the Rig Veda chapter by chapter, verse by verse. We have already completed the entire Mandala 6 of the Rig Veda, and right now we are discussing Mandala 3 of the Rig Veda. And if you're wondering why am I not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, well, we are following the internal chronology of Dr. Shrikant Talagiri, and that's how we are reading it. That's why we are reading first 6, then 3 in the Rig Veda. Now, that is for the Seekers tier. So it doesn't matter. You can become a Seekers tier member on YouTube, on Fanmo, or on Patreon by pledging anything below $5. You are members of the Seekers tier. Now, to the other tier. If you are on Fanmo, on YouTube, the direct access is it's written Speak With Me. Unfortunately, I could not create the tier on Patreon when I started the podcast. So galti se mistake ho gaya tha. So you have to pledge $5 and above if you want that. Now, what do you get if you are members of the Speak With Me tier? When you join the Speak With Me tier, you get everything that the Seekers tier members get. But over and above that, you get access to what I call the Understanding and Experiencing Religion series. To begin with, already the entire Valmiki Ramayana, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, has been completed. So once you become a member, you can just go there and you'll see the playlist and you can just watch all the videos. I mean, there are too many, so you cannot watch it in one day. You're going to take at least a few weeks to finish that itself. And then right now we are already in chapter 2 of the Manusmriti. So you get that, and then once every month you get a chance to speak with me in a monologue, off the record Q&A session, and we can chit chat. We did the last monologue on the 31st of December. Other than that, if you want to support the Charvak podcast, you can also go to kushalmehra.com and buy the Charvak podcast merchandise. You can also buy the merchandise on Kadak Merch on their website. And if not that, you know my UPI. And if you don't know my UPI by now, it has a Gangor failure on my part. It is kushalmehra at ICICI. You can send your donations through UPI too. Now, as always, the monologue will be, I don't think so. This one will take a lot of time. So it'll be around 25 minutes, 20 minutes. It's just an article. And as always, I will first share my views and then I will go to the top of the chat from the first message to the last. I will randomly look at messages which I want to answer to. And the ones that I definitely will answer are the ones which are the super chats. As I see one right now from Mr. Muhammad again. मैं second word नहीं बोलने वाला. My humble pranam to you, G Muhammad, and So it's simple. You want me to answer questions, you use the super chat option. Doesn't matter if you use it over here or you use it on Fanmo. If you are you want a bang for the buck, then yeah, you can use Fanmo. उधर थोड़ा सेम प्राइस में वर्ड्स ज़्यादा मिलते हैं, so you can use Fanmo. And now we're done. Okay, so let me now get down to the monologue. So today's monologue is a response to an opinion piece that was published in the Indian Express. Now, you might, I want to clarify this. Like, you might go ahead and ask me, यार कुशल भाई, आप कब से op-eds को respond करना शुरू हो गए? Now, full disclosure, this one really bugged me. So this is the op-ed. This op-ed is called BJP's re-election in 2024 may consolidate an idea of India that is inherently undemocratic. Oh yaar, kya pop up. Today, the BJP is poised to force the substance of politics onto its opponents, and once that exercise is complete, the transformation of India from the imagined constitutional democracy to a majoritarian regime will be complete. This is written by Suhas Palshikar. And just to give you a brief idea about who Suhas Palshikar is, he's a writer based in Pune and he taught political science, and he's the chief editor of studies in Indian politics. So that is who Palshikar or Suhas Palshikar is. Now, this article is really अ पीस ऑफ वर्क एंड डोंट वरी, मैंने पैसे नहीं दिए इसको पढ़ने के लिए। इसके पहले कि तुम लोग सोचो क्या कुशल भाई आपने पैसे दिए, नहीं, घंटा में पैसे देने वाला था। पैसे नहीं दिए, मैंने दूसरे तरीके से आर्टिकल को एक्सेस करके उसको पढ़ा। मैं कभी पैसे नहीं दूँगा इस आर्टिकल के लिए। मगर 2024 में इलेक्शंस हैं। ये सबको पता होना चाहिए। अगर नहीं पता है तो कौन से मतलब कुएँ के नीचे छुपे हुए हो, वो ज़रा मुझे बता दो। ठीक है जी। तो अगर 2024 में इलेक्शंस हैं, आई जस्ट वांट टू स्टेट दिस ऑन द रिकॉर्ड दैट इन केस यू डोंट नो, आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन वेरी ओपन अबाउट दिस दैट आई एम अ बीजेपी वोटर, in case you did not know about it. Do I criticize the BJP? Yes, I do criticize the BJP. I do it time and again, but I have never hidden the fact that I am a BJP voter. I openly support the BJP. I don't see that as a net negative, and I like to be very clear about it from the get go. So before anybody thinks कि ये क्यों कर रहा है, क्या कर रहा है, but even if I was not a BJP voter and even I was a guy who is, let's say, like Anand is Nota, right? Anand Ranganathan, in case you're wondering. So if Anand is Nota, but I still feel this op-ed by itself was so bad. It was so bad that I felt like answering. So it's not a large article, so I'm going to read it paragraph by paragraph and respond. So let's start. All right. So the author starts by saying, "What will India's collective self look like in the mirror of the near future? Any analysis of the politics of the present moment of today and tomorrow needs to be anchored in this difficult question. The answer to it hinges on what India has become today. After 8 years of BJP's single party dominance, politics is at the crossroads. It can cling to the remnants of a nearly demolished democratic spirit or slip into the abyss of more explicit authoritarianism. If the latter happens, we shall have transformed not just in politics but in identity too. Such a transformation represents no less than a hegemonic project that is still unfolding. Election outcomes and the shape of party competition, crucial as they are, should also be located in this larger inquiry. Let us, therefore, attempt at not only at 2024, but a little beyond that, and not only at elections, but much beyond that." So basically, what is the first paragraph trying to say? The first paragraph is basically saying कि ये तो यार बार बार बीजेपी जीतते जा रही है, ये तो चीटिंग हो गई है, हमको अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, व्हाट इज दिस नॉनसेंस, आई डोंट लाइक दिस आइडिया ऑफ बीजेपी विलिंग. दिस इज बेसिकली अ रैंट. सो बेसिकली उसको एक अच्छे से अच्छी वाली इंग्लिश में ऐसे थोड़ा सा इधर पाउडर लगाया, थोड़ा सा इधर ये लगाया, उसको ऐसे थोड़ा सा प्रेजेंटेबल बना के वह आपको पेश किया है. बट 2-3 key words have been used here. What is India's collective self look? So, what does this mean? When they talk about the collective self look of India, is they basically say every nation is very interesting, huh? So, the author is basically saying India does have a chitti, an essence. Otherwise, what does he mean by the words collective self look? So, so kudos to the author. He starts by admitting to the stand that the BJP and the BJP allied people have always taken, that there is a collective identity of India. There is something out there. The only difference is what is that collective identity. So that's point number one. So remember that. All right. So the next obvious is that it can cling to the remnants of a nearly demolished democratic spirit or slip into the abyss of more explicit authoritarianism. Now, what is the data to prove that India has become more authoritarian? Like, on what parameters do they make these statements on? And we go now to the VDEM index. So, if you ask this question to them, what are they going to throw at you? They're going to throw you the press freedom index of that French org, which Abhijit and I had read and broken down on this very podcast. Or they will throw the global freedom index or the VDEM index, whatever it is, which I covered with Salvatore Babones and in detail with Sanjeev Sanyal. They will throw that at you. So don't assume that when you ask them to quantify this claim, they don't have an answer to that. So first of all, they do have an answer to that. You should be ready with an answer to that answer. This is why I read these things. This is why you should say that the VDEM index says um, India is more authoritarian, or India has more authoritarian less academic freedom than Afghanistan, according to the great analysis that you have shared. So do you agree with that? And obviously there were many other things that basically talk out of their ass. So that's point number one. And then obviously the last line was hilarious, that election outcomes and the shape of party competition, crucial as they are, should be located in this larger inquiry. So basically what the author is saying is, हाँ, democracy मतलब elections होते हैं, लोग vote करते हैं, and once you get the results, if they don't fall where I want them to fall, democracy sucks. That's what the author is telling you. So basically what Mr. Palshikar is telling you is that democracy sucks. It is only nice when it gives the outcome that Mr. Palshikar likes. You know who has this mindset? Let me tell you. I will use Mr. Palshikar's word. People who believe in more explicit authoritarianism. Authoritarians think like this. Who are these authoritarians? These exist in all forms in India, in the BJP, in the Congress, in the Aam Aadmi Party. For example, my pet peeve, freedom of expression. You know who is an authoritarian? Every time they hear something they don't want to hear, they call for banning. That is an authoritarian mindset. Now, this mindset is authoritarianism on steroids. Why? वोटिंग तो कर दी तुम लोग ने, मगर तुमने मेरे मतलब की वोटिंग नहीं की, तो पूरा प्रोसेस ही है खराब. The entire process sucks. And this is authoritarianism 101. When people don't like democratic outcomes, in a system which is thorough and has all the checks and balances that we need. The person comes up and starts whining like a little child because the outcome is not of of their kind, as they say. Let's read further. Okay. Two interlinked processes are shaping today. One is taking place in the arena of competitive politics and is marked by the rise of the quote, second dominant party system. The other is the realm of politics of normative contestations. Nice words they use. The single party dominance of the BJP has achieved is vulnerable at the state level. There are states that where this dominance has so far failed to make its mark. The BJP is also vulnerable in its exclusive dependence on a single leader who needs to toil for local body elections as hard as the parliamentary elections. Similarly, the hegemony that marks the public domain is earned and retained through a complex and frail process. It is ideologically weak and thrives on distortions, manipulations, intellectually inadequate cribbing over victimhood and whataboutery. So much to break over here into pieces. All right. So the author says there are two interlinked processes. One is the arena of competitive politics, which is marked by the rise of the second dominant party system. So basically, what he's saying is the single party dominance that the BJP has achieved is a problem. अच्छा मेरे को एक बात बताओ. When has India, except for the little phase where the Congress was fading and the BJP under Atal Bihari Vajpayee was rising at that time, right? When other than that did we have a real phase in India? Congress was pretty much the single party that dominated the political landscape for India for a good 50 years. Good 50 years. BJP has dominated the political landscape of India literally for only 10 years. That's all. And in 10 years, this gentleman has a problem. This gentleman never had a problem when 50 years of dominance of the Gandhis and the Nehrus the was happening. Indira Gandhi's dominance, Rajiv Gandhi's dominance, Jawaharlal Nehru's dominance on the polity like a vice-like grip, which started loosening in the late 80s, and it came to its complete, you know, जिसको बोलते हैं shit hit the roof scenario, where we coalition dharma was the order of the day in the in all throughout the 90s, and then all throughout 2000, and then by 2014 we again went back, where we went back to the status quo where one dominant party was there in the center. So basically Mr. Palshikar does not like it is because the dominant party is not the one he likes. That's the point. And then, okay, the BJP is dependent on an exclusive single leader is partially correct. I actually agree with Palshikar, but is that the BJP's fault? Like, it is. This is like saying Sachin Tendulkar scored too many hundreds when he was part of Team India. If only Sachin was not playing, then India, how many runs did India make? Arey Baba, Sachin is the best player. He's always going to bat. And if Narendra Damodar Das Modi sells, what kind of a stupid ass complaint is this that it is dominated by one leader? Well, he's that damn good. You may not like him. I may not like him, for example. Not that I don't like him. I am actually fine with Narendra Modi. Like Abhijit does not like Narendra Modi, for example. But the point is, the country overall, by and large, likes Mr. Modi. Live with it. He gives results. And then to say, oh, why does he have to toil for a local body elections? Baba, they are a winning machine. How can you have a problem with a person who's toiling hard to win a damn election? I mean, why can't he? Give me one good reason. I don't get it. Like, what is this complaint? This is like, अरे ये तो चीटिंग है, मोदी जी हर इलेक्शन जीतने की कोशिश करते हैं. अरे तो क्यों नहीं करेंगे? Can you give me one good reason why Mr. Modi will not fight it? Like, what is Mr. Modi supposed to do? Sit there and dance like something? I don't get the point, this complaint. But the last bit is the most problem. So what they say is, The hegemony that marks the public domain is earned and retained through a complex and frail process. Okay. It is ideologically weak and thrives on distortions, manipulations, and intellectually inadequate cribbing over victimhood and whataboutery. So, what they are basically saying is that Hindus crying about them being denied basic rights and privileges for years is wrong. How dare Hindus complain? How dare they complain? Why are they complaining? Hindus have no business to complain. Victimhood in India is the bapoti only of a certain group or groups. Only they can claim victimhood, and BJP should basically shut the hell up and go sit in the corner. That's all it is. Manipulations, I don't know what manipulations they are talking about, because they have to substantiate the manipulations and intellectually inadequate cribbing over victimhood. And I mean, I don't know what is intellectually adequate cribbing. I did not know even cribbing could be intellectually inadequate. I have to study how can one crib intellectually adequately. I wish to know that, but we shall see that too. So now we go further. Not surprisingly, the current hegemony and single party dominance are coupled with crass repression by the state and by state approved vigilantism of private actors. In the coming years, the BJP might retain its hold on formal power and competitive politics. It may also successfully stabilize the current distortion of public culture, but its reliance on repression and celebration of masculine militarism against the citizenry will continue. During its second term, the current regime has made concerted efforts to undermine constitutional democracy, but even before that, the process of hollowing the various institutions has begun. While constitutional bodies like the judiciary or the election commission have been tamed or threatened, the most abject surrender facilitating an authoritarian turn of governance has been by the bureaucracy and the investigating agencies, so much so that these two have become partners of the political establishment in the crime against democracy. Now, let's look at part one first. He says we are distorting the public culture and they are relying on masculine militarism. Okay? What did the Congress do? What has been the story of Islamism in India? I don't know how else to say this. What is the story of Jatwad and Khalistanism in Punjab? Is that not masculine militarism? गुस्ताखे रसूल की एक ही सजा, सरतन से जुदा is not masculine militarism? That is not. This is not a defense of what the Bajrang Dal does. I am not a fan. और मुझे बथेरी गालियां मिलती हैं उस बीजेपी सपोर्ट बेस से उसके लिए, and I could care less. But the point is, this is the essence of India. For machismo. If Mr. Palshikar has a problem with for machismo in principle, then I got no issues. I'm with him. But it seems Mr. Palshikar only has a problem with reactionary for machismo, because the Islamist for machismo or the Khalistani for machismo or the Northeast for machismo shown by the Christians or the Dravidian politics for machismo down south is all good. That masculine militarism is all fine when Brahmins in Tamil Nadu are beaten up. Right? That is fine, right? I guess it is. And the next bit, constitutional bodies like the judiciary or election commission and the bureaucracy. I mean, with what face can this man even say this? I mean, anybody who has read an ounce of the history of India, an ounce. I don't even need to say that you need to be an expert on Indian political history, but to make this point with a straight face that BJP has undermined the institutions like judiciary, election commission, and the bureaucracy has to be the biggest freaking joke on planet Earth. You should be ashamed of making a point like this. You literally should be ashamed of making a point like this. And in typical Greta Thunberg style, for this paragraph, I say, how dare you? Now let's read further. The fun has just begun. So, where did we go? In this overall context, irrespective of electoral outcomes, we are bound to witness a further weakening of the liberal norm. It is true that all parties, when they acquire prom, adopt a status approach bordering on disguised authoritarianism, either in the legal instruments they create or in the application of existing ones. Yet, the present moment must be distinguished from this more general tendency. The current regime is inherently antagonistic to the liberal norm. The liberal norm and majoritarianism are at odds, and the latter is at the heart of the current regime's ideological project. This dichotomy pitches today's regime against all dimensions of the liberal ethic. Ek minute. When this party was not in power, India had triple talaq, nikah halala. That is the liberal ethic. Christian women till date cannot go and get a divorce in India without the approval of a padri. That is the liberal ethic. Before this government came, there India had so much freedom of speech, right? That is the liberal ethic. और कम से कम झूठ तो बोलना बंद करो. 1990s में तो जाके हमारी इकोनॉमी खोली है. That is the liberal ethic. पहले 44 तो मुस्टंडो के जैसे कांग्रेस राज कर रही थी. सोशलिस्ट कंट्री थी ये. This was a third world hellhole. कुछ तो शर्म करो. That is the liberal ethic. I am not saying BJP is some paragon of virtue when it comes to free speech. They are not. But to accuse them of the things that have always existed. What nonsense. The BJP is not liberal. They increased the abortion limit in India. The BJP is not liberal. They did one after the other liberal economic reforms that were not done in the history of this country. What nonsense are we talking about? And to lie with a straight face. मान गए उस्ताद. Next paragraph. Today, the acceptability of majoritarianism is linked to the nature of religious identity. Instead of a move from ritual practices to joyful festivities, each religious event is pulled back into the vortex of public performance of rituals and their linkage to religiosity and national pride. These developments have implications for how the project of evolving a political community necessary for democracy is undermined. This is happening through 4 processes. भैया आपको पब्लिक डिस्प्ले ऑफ रिलीजन जब रात के 10 बजे के बाद डिंग डोंग नमाज पढ़ती है तब नहीं दिखता है. आपको कभी नहीं दिखता वो. यू नेवर सी इट देन. ऑल पब्लिक. If anything in this country, it has been the Hindu faith that has been mocked all the time. No other faith has been mocked like the Hindu faith has been. And my biggest grouse is the Islamification of the Hindu mind. Because the liberal ethic, according to this author of India, has betrayed everyone. Because there is nothing liberal in the liberal ethic of India. यहां पे सस्ते स्टालिन और मिनी माओ बैठे हुए हैं. और इन सस्ते स्टालिन्स को सिर्फ डंडा अपने हाथ में लाना है. फ्रीडम देनी ही नहीं है किसी को. तो कम से कम शर्म तो करो. दूसरों को बोल रहे हो. चलो अभी इनके प्रोसेस पढ़ते हैं. One, ever since the Ayodhya controversy was stoked in the late 80s, Muslims are reminded of being Muslims rather than Indians. In a sense, a conservative Muslimness is forced upon the community through its isolation and now its conversion into second-class citizenry. To a lesser extent, this happens in the case of Christians as well. Through the onslaught of public display of religiosity, Hindus are persuaded to become more Hindu in a superficial sense. That is where the discourse of Hindutva has been very successful. 3, as a corollary, the plural nature of Hinduism is pushed aside in favor of a more pan-Indian, homogenized idea of Hinduism. Okay, let us deal with the first 3. Muslims are reminded of being Muslims rather than Indians. No, they are not. Muslims make sure that everybody is reminded they are Muslims on a daily basis in India when they announce it through their azan. It's fine. Everybody should be allowed to do it, or everybody should not be allowed to do it in a secular democracy. Muslims wear religion on their sleeve. That's the last thing you should accuse a Muslim of, being forced to wear religion on their sleeve. This damn country was partitioned because Muslims and Hindus and a section of Hindus, Muslims inside British India said, we are two separate nations. So get real. At least stop lying to yourselves. Aage. Okay. So Muslims are now second class citizenry. How? I mean, record after record. एक तरफ इंडियन राइट विंग बोलता है ये माइनॉरिटी स्कीम्स चालू है, माइनॉरिटी स्कीम्स चालू है, ये चालू है. अरे तो किस एंगल से सेकंड क्लास सिटीजन हो गए? दे गेट एक्सेस टू एवरी सिंगल राइट इन इंडिया. दे हैव अ राइट टू वोट, दे हैव अ राइट टू ऑल द public welfare schemes that we have. I mean, what nonsense. So how are they second class citizens? They are second class citizens because nowadays in India we have a talk of a uniform civil code, that we basically want every single Indian to be treated as an individual and not as a group first. That makes them second class citizens. Basically, Muslims can have whatever, 4 wives or whatever, and that makes them. I mean, which civilized man will think like this? I don't know how this person is civilized. On public display of religiosity, Hindus are persuaded to become more Hindu. Are bhai, what nonsense? Why can't Hindus show their religious fervor? Why only one religion is allowed, the other is not? ये क्या टाइम पास है? हम येड़े हैं क्या? हिंदू कुछ नहीं करे, हिंदू की दिवाली होएगी, क्रैकर बैन करो. Hindus are not allowed to do anything. What nonsense is this? And then the usual rubbish. Hindutva has been very successful in making the plural nature of Hinduism is pushed aside for a more pan-India, homogenized idea of India, Hinduism. इसको अंग्रेजी में जो ब्रिटिशर्स कहते हैं, this is what I call pure unadulterated bollocks. Hindutva is basically Hindus and Hinduness, and they assert themselves. So what this man has a problem with is everybody can assert their religiosity in India, and the Hindu is basically supposed to shut the hell up and sit in the corner over there and go, हाँ तू करना, मैं बैठा इधर, तू करना. क्यों? क्यों हिंदू अपनी religiosity नहीं कर सकता? And what is this plural nature of religion? Yes, Hinduism is plural. It believes all paths are valid. Does Islam do it? Does Christianity do it? So basically, monotheism can be exclusivist, and Hinduism can't even defend itself against predatory proselytizing monotheism. वाह भाई वाह, शाबाश शाबाश, मान गए उस्ताद आपको. 24 तोपों का सलाम देना चाहिए इनको. Next, as a result, the fourth process, the space for cultural intermixing in the social realm shrinks, just as the space for cultural contestations and politics of culture in the party arena almost disappears. This is where we come back to the idea of a dominant party system. It is not so much about electoral expansion as it is about the ability of the dominant party to determine what will be the ideological contours of political competition. The idea of the middle ground of politics has been changing. Today, the BJP is poised to force not just the style of language, not just the style and language of politics, but also the substance of politics onto its opponents. And once that exercise is complete, the transformation of India from an imagined constitutional democracy to a majoritarian regime will be complete. Basically, kya hai malum hai? What did the Hindutva project do? Hindutva project united nationalist Indians of any religion or no religion, and amongst the Hindus, all castes, into a vote bank. That's all Hindutva did. Hindutva said caste sucks, it should be basically eliminated. It said get over and come together. It took time, right? Hindutva as a project started in early 1900s, and it's been almost 100 years for this project. Now this project has culminated into something tangible politically and socially. And this gentleman, इनकी बेसिकली सडिंग्स हो रही है इस समय, इनकी सड़ रही है कि हो गया. That's the problem. The problem is whenever a Hindu speaks up for himself, for his culture, for his identity, for his civilization, the Hindu should be ashamed. The Hindu should basically sit in a corner and say nothing, do nothing, and keep taking the shit from predatory monotheism and authoritarian governments. That's all a Hindu is supposed to do in this country, as per this gentleman. That's all. And their imaginary, unicorn, cloud, cuckoo land, plural Hinduism basically is capitulating to bigotry. That's what it is. I refuse to do that. Last paragraph. How long will this transformation take? In 2019, by allowing to BJP to win big, the non-BJP parties facilitated a major step in this direction. In 2024, the BJP would expect to take the final step in taking the idea that defines India. In this sense, elections will determine the image of India in the mirror of the future. With each day, the present regime enjoys formal and cultural power. The decimation of the constitutional project and distortion of India's collective self will come closer. This underscores the urgency of confronting the second dominant party system on two fronts. One is a mundane exercise of weakening the electoral prowess of the current regime. The arrogance of the present power machine from top to bottom may contribute to this exercise. The other is the rebuilding of the constitutional imagination with something almost unique to India, intertwining diversity with the idea of democracy. This will automatically strengthen the liberal spirit. These efforts may prolong the fruition of the hegemonic project that is currently underway. This is where the innate tradition of accommodation and coexistence may prove valuable. As the BJP's power saturates in some parts and remains vulnerable in many others, one may expect an open political battlefield, but the core issue is both during electoral battle and after that. In the course of routine politics, will non BJP parties have an agenda of protecting the democratic promise we once held? Can we as Indians look up straight in the face of our future image? मतलब बेसिकली क्या है कि बीजेपी को हराए कैसे यार, बीजेपी जीतते जा रही है, लास्ट में ये फंडा है. See, they said, why are you are anti democracy, win an election and govern yourself. ठीक है जी, जीत गए इलेक्शन, गवर्न करना शुरू कर लिया अपने आप को. अब जीत गए इलेक्शन तो बोलते ये क्या काम है यार, ये तो चीटिंग है, तुम जीत गए इलेक्शन. हमने थोड़ी ना बोला था, हमको थोड़ी ना लगा था कि तुम इलेक्शन जीत जाओगे, ये तो गड़बड़ हो गई. अभी इलेक्शन जीत रहे हो तो डाइवर्सिटी कोटा. Even if you analyze it from a pure diversity perspective, the BJP, when it comes to caste representation, is far more diverse than any political party in India today, because the BJP genuinely does the math. And I rely on my dear friend Nalin Mehta's book, The New BJP. Go and read that book and see, even at the party level, how BJP does not fill posts at the ward level, at the mandal level, at the zilla level, and waits for that particular caste matrix to come up, or religion matrix to come up in the leadership. वो post खाली रखते हैं. That is how much BJP believes in representative politics and diverse politics. इन सालों की problem ये हो गई है कि BJP says uniform civil code lao. The moment you bring a uniform civil code, everybody becomes an individual in the eye of the law and the collective goes back. These people, the Saste Stalins and the Mini Maos in the left, they want that old identitarian groupthink shit show that India already is back with full aplomb. They do not like the reality that the BJP united the Hindus and nationalist Indians irrespective of religious identity. And it is increasing its numbers, not decreasing its numbers. That's their single largest grouse. इनकी सड़ी उस बात से हुई है, और कोई बात से इनकी सड़ी नहीं हुई है. ये सड़ रहे इसके लिए है कि इनकी दाल रोटी बंद हो गई है, और इनको टेंशन ये हो रही है, इसके लिए फियर मॉन्गरिंग चालू है. इसके लिए ये बेसिकली बाहर की एक घटिया टुच्ची किस्म की जो आपकी रेटिंग्स होती हैं उनके ऊपर रिलाई किया जाता है कि हाय हाय मर गए जी, मर गए, मेरे को तो पॉटी भी नहीं आ रही है, क्या करूं मैं, ब्ला 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 ब्ला. द रियलिटी इज they don't like BJP in power is because they've lost control. These authoritarians want them to control our lives. That's all it is. They don't want freedom for you. That liberal ethic that this man talks about is not really liberal. It is authoritarianism of the worst kind. That's all it is. I'll stop over here because this article was so frustrating that I had to talk about it. Because when I read this article, it is unbelievable that, you know, and the man in the article had said, oh, BJP only indulges in whataboutery. What does the Congress do? What has the Congress done? What can you show the last 10 years of the BJP Congress communication? What does Congress communicate? And if the Congress communication is so spot on, why aren't the people convinced? The point is, the BJP delivered things that Indians in this country wanted. The BJP gave them toilets. The BJP gave them roads. The BJP gave them all the things that they wanted at a sufficient level. Is it perfect? Obviously, it's not perfect. Which political party is perfect? They're all suckers. But the point is, it is sufficiently perfect for a huge swath of India. You don't like them, don't vote for them. But to say this is authoritarian, this is against the liberal ethic, there is no such thing. It is all bollocks. Now I'll take your questions. So I'm going to start with the super chats first, as always. So let's see. So there are 3 questions. Mohammad ji का तो मैंने पहले ही प्रणाम ले लिया था. ईश्वर वेनिगल्ला, do you think Congress going Muslim League way, dying and in memory, and AAP becoming India's PTI, destroying India from within to come into power? Ishwar, I think Congress becoming the Muslim League of India is a fairly accurate thing, because in fact I had even tweeted about this a while ago, like long time ago, that Congress is becoming the Muslim League of India. But to give up a particular Pakistani Tehreek-e-Insaf, I'm assuming that's what you're saying, Imran Khan's party, I think they're not that. I don't know how to classify Imran Khan. So it would be hard for me to give you an answer on them being Tehreek-e-Insaf. So I hope I have given you a satisfactory answer. So Pikachu Man says people don't want segregation, but then they group themselves together and ask for special treatment. Sab pagal hain. Well, sab pagal hain. I don't know if sab pagal hain. Sometimes you have to come in groups and demand certain rights, unfortunately, in a democratic system. But what do you do? Anyways, so the next one is, do you think BJP has or should have a well thought through succession plan post Modi or post 2024? Also, please consider writing an article for Swarajya or any other outlet on this topic. Now, I don't think BJP has a succession plan, if you ask me. I genuinely don't think so. I mean, they do. I think it is after Narendra Modi, it is Amit Shah. And after that, I don't think so. They have a succession plan. But let me tell you, why should they have such a long winded succession plan? I don't like the idea of succession plans. Let the best person rise up to the top, and let the best person perform, and rise to the top. If you predetermine a 20-year succession plan, you basically are messaging to other members of the party that you cannot rise and aspire to be the prime minister. So why would you want to do that, is my question. JSD has said, sir, was there casteist discrimination and oppression in Vedic society, or it was forced upon Indians by British colonizers, censors, and divide and rule? No. Did the colonizer and the British intervention in India create some new schisms in Indian society that did not exist? Maybe. But to use that and then give an entire clean sheet for to the entire Hindu society and say there was no caste based discrimination in India before the British or the Muslims came is just, is, I'm sorry, is a lie. You're lying to yourself. Arshit Sharma, How to Study Hinduism from Scratch. All books you recommend and are foreign translations trustable? Well, you can join the sessions. I'm going to go through the entire gamut of Hindu texts. So you can go there, and we use multiple translations. So it's not like you can't use foreign translations. You can use Indian and foreign, and you read multiple translations, and that's how you get basic access to the whole shebang. Pra- Prayak Prakyat Kumar. I'm sorry. Issues like these stem from inferiority complex and insecurities of our population in whom they find a receptive audience. A self confident population would just shrug off this nonsense. Your thoughts? A self confident population is shrugging off this nonsense that is written in the Indian Express. But the point is, sometimes you need to respond to nonsense like this to remind yourselves what kind of a demented mindset and what kind of la la land some people actually live in. That's why. Ram Mohan, hi Kushal, absolutely love the show. Why has India never had a January 6th or Brazil style anti democratic protest? Not that I want one. Well, because I think Indians in general, and especially the the Hindu or I would say the Christian community in India too. I think if you look at the democratic quotient of Indians in general, they like democracy. They don't hate democracy as such. So whenever you see these things happening, um, it will always be very much in favor of democracy, because Indians are not democracy haters, if I was to say that. So on average, and also the overlap between plural Hinduism and diverse democratic governance models is very easy to fit. So that's why Indians just took to democracy far easier than, let's say, many other countries that literally had to go through a lot of fire and brimstone. So yeah. Mm, so I'm going now on the top, and I'm going to start looking at random messages. If there is something worth answering, I will. If judicial decision is in our favor, then democracy is alive. Otherwise, it isn't. And whoever doesn't agree with us are Nazi supporters, and their leader is like a Hitler. Accurate. That's pretty much the mindset of most people. Mm. So I've been asked, is there a process to get a paralyzed person to get his right to vote? Can you email me? My email ID is because I'll have to figure this out. So if you don't mind emailing me, this is my email ID, contact at kushalmehra.com. I'll try to find out. I don't promise, but I will try my best to find out. So Ishwar, thank you for becoming a member. Also, we have a couple of members on Patreon also who have just joined. So let me give them a shout out too. So I guess we have Prakyat Kumar and Dipankar D. Roy. Thank you for becoming a member. Mm. So the author basically has a problem with BJP winning again and again. Yes. And the next one is the most accurate. According to them, voters तो चूतिए हैं. बिल्कुल इनको लगता है वोटर्स चूतिए हैं. Mm. All right, Aditya, what do you think of the limit of the number of terms of POTUS? Does such a limit on the terms of a PM would be beneficial or detrimental to India? Uh, I honestly don't care. If for me, if a leader is good at policy making and is performing, I Aditya, I don't see a problem with that person continuing. To be very honest, I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, fine. What the Americans have. I mean, it started off with a voluntary thing, and then it just became the norm in that country overall. Over a period of time, it became the law. But I seriously don't see, like, if somebody becomes a prime minister at the age of 40 and they're physically fit and they make good policy decisions and they govern the country for 25, 30 years, I don't see an issue in it, because we always have the option of kicking them out in a democracy. So what's the big deal is what I don't understand. Why one would not want to win? BJP is not supposed to win, Karthik. You're not getting it. Everybody else is allowed to win. BJP is not allowed to win. Mm. Hi, as Hindutva, we totally support LGBT rights, but why is it that the stand taken by the government lawyers is against it and the BJP itself seems to have a wobbly stand? I mean, what are you talking about? The BJP has no, as far as the government is concerned, when they were asked on the decriminalization of homosexuality, they said we leave it to the courts, and then the RSS made a statement. So that is the way of doing it in India. As far as the government lawyers taking a stand on what? I guess you're talking about this court case that has gone now about same-sex marriage. The government has taken what it has. I don't know. I think uh, they think the Indian society would not approve of it, and that's why they must have done it. Because personally, I know BJP leaders; they are very open with it. They don't care. They support same-sex marriage, but they will not take the same stand. Just like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton opposed gay marriage, and then when the courts legalized it, they did a about turn. Just letting you know. So Ram Mohan, a small suggestion. I'm from Tamil Nadu. If you could get someone like Annamalai to discuss BJP in Tamil Nadu, BJP is doing good work here. Well, I normally avoid BJP leadership, but Annamalai is someone I would love to talk to. I actually like the work he's doing. Mm, Karun, thanks for becoming a member. Red Bull, thanks for becoming a member. I hope you're eternally energized. Mm, mm. Hindutva people aren't totally against caste. They go along with the sentiments present in that area. Nope. Because you have not read Hindutva literature is why you make such weird statements, but it's fine. Mm, Kushal was like, ये तो टट्टी है मगर ये article टट्टी ही तो था. I mean, what do you want me to do? If टट्टी is टट्टी, what do I do? I mean, I have to call shit shit. Electricity, bank account, toilet, water, LPG and many more. That's why BJP is winning. ये हिंदुत्व करते रह जाएंगे और बीजेपी जीत जाएगी. ये सब and Hindutva is the reason BJP wins. Can I UPI him? I don't understand. UPI me what? You want to ask a question? You can use the super chat option also. Can I send you a UPI and ask a question? No, you can. What you can do is you can use a Fanmo option. So what I'll do is I will just type the Fanmo link in the live chat right now. You can click that one and you can use UPI over there. Okay. Fanmo accepts UPI to ask questions. So Ameya Rupal, after delimitation, Bimaru states will get higher share of seats in Lok Sabha. It is even necessary to increase seats based on population seems unfair. Uh, I actually have been trying to understand this subject and read more about it. I would reserve my remarks as of now on this. There was a book I was planning to read and review, but then I just didn't get to it. It was on the North versus South divide also. So if I get to it, I will let you know. Hmm. So Ishwar has asked, truth be told, freebies are killing the discourse. When government reduces, removes them, everyone takes up the arms against, not thinking through tomorrow is in danger. BJP will be hit with the with being undemocratic. Listen, freebies and especially what AAP is doing in terms of that is very dangerous. But in the election analysis, what I found very interesting was as and when people go higher in the electoral ladder and in the education ladder, they tend to vote very much towards the BJP. So even if you look at the long term trend, right, Ishwar, just BJP is going to be unabashedly the number one party because the more educated people become, the more they tend to vote BJP. So that is the direction of the country. I mean, obviously, it could all change, but as of now, it looks like it. Chinmay Dattar, as Bhav Torsekar says, these people want to win a match from the commentary box. That is so true. Bhav Torsekar is spot on, my friend, spot on. Commentary box करके मैच जीतना चाहते हैं. Have you heard of Sanjutta Basu on India? नहीं मैंने वो देखा नहीं है मुझे देखना है Amna and Khalid are good friends so I actually will check that chat out. Everything is mentioned in many monologues before. Sahil, I'm not going to sit and answer everything over here again. In a hypothetical worst case scenario, if BJP is complacent and loses either 2024 or 29, do you think India will actually regress? Well, India will regress in the terms of the speed of development, in terms of infrastructure, and all these projects will reduce drastically because you can literally see the highway building speed um, under BJP and under non-BJP governments, and you will know. So yes, we will definitely have a problem in that sense. So yeah, we should be worried. Bring Anand Ranganathan and Ajit Iyer Mitra together, please. Okay. Can the BJP win in South Indian states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka? uh, AP, Telangana, and especially in Kerala where they haven't won at all. What's your take? Well, I think Tamil Nadu with Annamalai and his work and BJP making inroads over there, there is hope. Karnataka keeps going back and forth. Andhra Pradesh again and Telangana, I do see BJP coming. Kerala, I don't for a long, long time. Yeah, I know this is a new Buddhist channel and don't waste your time on this and don't waste my time also. क्या क्या देखते रहते हो? Is Levi's really the best jeans brand? एक काम करो कच्छे में घूमो तुम. जीन्स नहीं पहननी चाहिए. True nationalist Indian will not wear jeans. कच्छे में घूमो हर जगह. Skeleton Master Killer. Why is the BJP being perceived by sections of the non left as anti Hindu or pro Ambedkarite in the left wing sense? Do you believe that given incidents like Joshi Mutt, that the BJP should be pressed for letting go of temples? Is there no trade off between development and faith? It's a good question. First of all, I would appreciate the question. I actually think it's a very well worded question. Look, I have in principle always supported temple freedom with only one caveat and one acknowledgement. The caveat being temples that want to stay inside the government ambit. After my study of the Tirthak Kshetra Fund in Maharashtra under the BJP government and how that fund was used and what happens in that fund, I realized that maybe temple freedom might be a very good thing for big temples with big kitties. It might spell doomsday, and disaster for the smaller temples because their collection and the hundi is very small and their donations are very limited. So I think when we talk about temple freedom, we should be conscious of the fact that temple should be given the freedom of staying in the government and outside the government. That is point number one. The other acknowledgement is I hope you understand that Hindutva as a project has taken 100 years to get over caste divides in India. I think you should appreciate the fear in the SC/ST community that they might not be given entry in temples. I think we have to be humble enough to admit that these problems do exist in our society or did exist in our society. If we refuse to do that, I think it's not good. As far as the Joshi Mutt question is concerned, look, try and listen to the experts on this subject. I I heard Adit talking about it consistently, Adit Kapadia, and we have a habit of making ad hoc remarks and becoming over emotional when we make statements. As far as you know, these things are concerned, we should follow the science. And infrastructure issues in India are complex because we do need to consult civil engineers before we do anything, and I think civil engineers are the most qualified people to do this. Joshi Mutt should be saved. It's a great heritage site in this country, but at the same time we can have a bit of both is what I'm trying to say. I hope you try and understand. I tried my best to give you a long-winded answer, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Why do you think Indian Express allowed this to be published? No, I think it's okay. I mean, could you do a ranking of all 14 prime ministers of India? Interesting video idea. It's actually a very good idea. I will forget, Ram Mohan. Can you email this to me? Contact at kushalmehra.com. I'll genuinely forget otherwise. मिस्टर ली, यूपीआई से क्यों इतना दुश्मनी? मुझे यूपीआई से कोई दुश्मनी नहीं है भैया। यूपीआई यूज करके फैनमो में कर दो ना। मैं कहाँ बोल रहा हूँ मुझे कोई यूपीआई से दुश्मनी नहीं है। आई हैव नो दुश्मनी फ्रॉम यूपीआई। मैंने यूपीआई के लिए तो फैनमो का मेंबरशिप शुरू किया क्योंकि बहुत सारे इंडिया में लोग थे, उनको यूपीआई यूज करना था, तो वहां पे कर दिया। कमाल है भाई। इज भारत जोड़ो यात्रा रियली वर्किंग फॉर, सी इन टर्म्स ऑफ कीपिंग द कार्यकर्ता ऑक्यूपाइड एंड busy? I would say it is. In terms of electoral outcomes, yeah, it's very hard to judge. I know people who say they can judge and this and that. I doubt it. Can Hindu rituals accommodate for same sex marriage? Look, you will have to ask a trained Pandit, but honestly, I think same sex marriage should be allowed under the Special Marriage Act. First of all, I don't know why there is something like the Hindu Marriage Act and the Muslim Marriage Act, and we should have a uniform civil code. And then people can get married however they want to by Hindu Tithi, Muslim Tithi, Christian Tithi, but there should be only one marriage act in India. Rituals आपको जो करना है करो. As far as there might be pandits in their individual capacity who are happily doing same sex weddings also, so what's the big deal? And if you think it is against the religion, you don't have to attend that wedding, and that pandit should have the right to do that thing. I personally do not oppose same sex marriage because I don't care. मैं थोड़ा शादी कर रहा हूँ, मुझे क्या करना है? जिसको करना है करो। तुमको डॉगी से भी शादी करनी है, डॉगी से भी शादी कर लो, मुझे क्या करना है? मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं है। मेरे को नहीं मालूम लोगों को। सेम तू तू आदमी, तू होमो होमो शादी क्यों कर रहा है? अरे तेरे से थोड़ा कर रहा है भाई, तू तू जा ना उधर। Any thoughts on the future of opposition? I don't know. That's the, as a BJP supporter, I don't care. As an Indian, I care. As an Indian, my thought is that the opposition needs to get its act together. Otherwise, they're gonna go on losing. See, Pranab, BJP freebies nahi hai. I think Ashish Chandorkar once mentioned this on my podcast, and I agree with Ashish. Ashish said that BJP is building capex. This is not freebies. What AAP does is freebies. BJP is actually building capex. Mm, पॉडकास्ट को क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है मुझे, कच्चा जॉकी का लूं या लीवाइस का? रूपा का ले लो। रूपा अंडरवेयर बनियान पहनना। ओ यार, तुम लोग स्पैम क्यों करते हो यार? कुशल भाई, इनवाइट मेजर आर्या। आई एक्चुअली डोंट नो हिम। आई वुड नॉट माइंड स्पीकिंग विद हिम। मैं सच कह रहा हूँ, मैं उनको जानता नहीं हूँ। So take on Bihar conducting a caste census. Will it benefit the BJP or vice versa? How will this thing impact both the state and the country in terms of, well, if you are giving caste based reservations in India, might as well do a good job at it and identify the caste. So I fundamentally don't think having a caste census is that bad an idea in that sense. What do they do post that? We never know, right? We don't know what are they going to do with it. So let's see. यार प्लीज डोंट स्पैम, व्हाई डू पीपल स्पैम मैन? ओके, सत्या स्पैमर्स को निकाल दो, रिमूव भानु प्रताप सिंह। What content do you have on Fanmo? The content on Fanmo is the same that is there on Patreon, that is there on YouTube. These are just three options you have. You can choose the option you like. I never said I support bestiality. I said you can marry an animal. Who cares? हमारे देश में तो वैसे भी वो एक आदमी से शादी के पहले करने के पहले वो पीपल के पेड़ से शादी कराते हैं। फिर मैंने वीडियो देखे हुए वो कुत्ते से शादी करा दी थी किसी की, आदमी से शादी कराने के पहले। जिसको जो करना है करने दो, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ। हाँ, बीस्टियलिटी मैं सपोर्ट नहीं करता, वो मैं नहीं करता। मेरा सिंपल फंडा है, अगर नॉन कॉपुलेटिंग मैरिज करनी है आपको तो एनिमल को भी रख लो घर में, मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? उसको बोल दो ये मेरा बीवी है, मेरा बच्चा है, मेरा जो है। लोग अपने कुत्ते को अपना बच्चा बोलते हैं, वो कुत्ता उनका बच्चा होता है क्या? वो उनका बच्चा है क्या? What if that doggy identifies as a human? This okay. तो रूपा क्या पहनेगी? वो रूपा से पूछिए। व्हाट डू यू थिंक ऑफ प्रतीक बोरडे यूट्यूबर है? भाई कौन है यार, मेरे को क्या मालूम, मैं थोड़ी ना कोई बैठ के इतने सारे यूट्यूबर को देखता रहता हूँ। आप लोग भी क्या क्वेश्चन पूछते हो? ओके, अभी मुझे ही ब्लॉक करना पड़ेगा कुछ लोगों को, क्योंकि लोग बहुत इरिटेट कर रहे हैं इस समय। ये देखो, बहुत फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग है। अरे सत्या यार, बराबर कर यार, लोगों को निकाल। बट मैरिज विल नॉट हैव कंसेंट शिप्रिता, वो तो मुझे भी मालूम है। तो ये वाले वो जो फोटोज देखे थे मैंने, वो डॉगी और एक दुल्हन को बिठा दिया था साथ में, उसमें कौन सा कंसेंट था डॉगी का? कंसेंट था क्या? आई वॉज, दैट वॉज माई होल पॉइंट, आई वॉज बीइंग फेसिशियस। लोगों ने मेरे कुत्ते के प्रपोजल का, शादी के आइडिया को सीरियसली ले लिया, ये भगवान। मैं एक्चुअल में नहीं बोल रहा था, आई वॉज बीइंग फेसिशियस, दैट्स द होल पॉइंट। एक मिनट रुको, अभी मेरे को फोटो निकालनी पड़ेगी। हाँ जी, अगर आपको विश्वास नहीं है तो ये देखिए। हाँ जी, मैं आपको दिखा रहे हैं। यहाँ पे कौन सा कंसेंट हुआ था मेरे को ये समझाएं आप। ठीक है जी, यहाँ पे कौन सा कंसेंट है, यहाँ पे मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ। कौन सा कंसेंट था ये कुत्ते में? और ये एक किस्सा मैं जस्ट एग्जांपल के लिए शेयर कर रहा हूँ, ऐसे बहुत हैं बाय द वे किस्से कुत्ता बिल्ली वाले। सागरिका एंड राजदीप स्टार्टेड देयर गेम ऑफ डिवाइड कमेंट्स। मतलब क्या डिवाइड कर रहे हैं? अपनी प्रॉपर्टी डिवाइड कर रहे हैं, तो मैं चल जाऊं लेने थोड़ा सा। प्री सीरीज पॉड बिफोर बीजीटी। बीजीटी क्या है यार? मेरे को ये तुम्हारे शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स समझ में नहीं आते। एग्रीड अक्षय, वॉज दिस लीगल? जो मैंने आर्टिकल दिखाया आपको, इंडियन टीन मैरी स्ट्रे डॉग, वॉज दैट लीगल? वॉज दैट इन्फॉर्म्ड कंसेंट? कुत्ता कंसेंट दे सकता है? अरे यार, ये विटामिन प्रोटीन को बैन करो सत्या। क्या बकवास है, पता नहीं वेले लोग। बिकिनी की फोटो मत दिखाना। पीपल के पेड़ से कौन सा कंसेशन लिया जाता है? अरे तो मैं वही तो बोल रहा हूँ, आप लोग जो मेरे को अक्यूज कर रहे हो, मेरा होल पॉइंट आई वाज होपिंग कोई तो पकड़े जब मैंने ये लाइन बोली। शुक्र है किसी ने तो पकड़ा। और ताकि मेरा प्लान था, मैंने ऐसे चेस के जैसे ये मूव खेली थी। मैं जानवर का नाम लूंगा, लोग जानवर का पॉइंट निकालेंगे कंसेंट का, और फिर मैं बोलूंगा यहाँ पे कंसेंट था। मैं वेट कर रहा था, मेरे पास हमेशा ऐसा होता है, मैं 3 स्टेप्स अहेड सोचता हूँ ये गेम में। कुछ तो कुत्ता ही लग रहा है लेकिन। अरे भाई वो कोई रिचुअल होगा। हाँ, मुझे तो जैसे मालूम ही नहीं है ना वो रिचुअल है। कंसेंट की बात कर रहे हो तो ये रिचुअल में कंसेंट है क्या कुत्ते का? मुझे जैसे नहीं मालूम, मैं बड़ा नाइव हूं ना, मुझे ये चीजें मालूम नहीं है कि मैं तो कल ही पैदा हुआ हूं, मेरे को तो नहीं आइडिया था ये सब क्या हो रहा है। अच्छा ये ले लो, ये 2007 में। क्या हो रहा है ये? अच्छा। ये मतलब, अच्छा, अब ये भी बोल दो, ठीक है। अब मैं इसको जज नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं बोल रहा हूं इसमें कंसेंट का है। He stoned 2 dogs to death, so he's married a dog as atonement. बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी, हाँ हाँ उसका पक्का होगा। अरे ये महीने भी क्रिकेट पॉडकास्ट करेंगे, अभी वनडेज खत्म होने दो ना, तो एंड ऑफ द मंथ में मैं और आदित्य करेंगे। हिंदी बेल्ट कमेंट, इफ शंकर मिश्रा वाज मुस्लिम देयर। यार राजदीप सरदेसाई को कौन सुनता है, मैं उसको फॉलो भी नहीं करता हूँ ट्विटर पे। आई एम नॉट प्लेइंग 9D chess with my room viewers, but I'm playing 2D 3D chess. ओके चलो जी, ये आर्यन को बंद करो स्पैमिंग के लिए। सत्या, टाटा बोल दो आर्यन को। टाटा बोल दो, जाओ उसको टाटा बोल दो। व्हाट्स योर टेक ऑन दी एमसीडी थिंग अगेन? फुल फॉर्म बोलो यार, मेरे को ऐसे तुम्हारे ये शॉर्ट फॉर्म नहीं समझ पड़ते। आईपीएल में इस बार आरसीबी जीतेगी, घंटा आरसीबी जीतेगी। गुण हाँ, गुजरात जीतने वाली है साला, इतनी अच्छी टीम है उनकी। व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली रॉन्ग विद राहुल गांधी? मुझे क्या पता यार, मैं कौन सा माइंड रीडर हूँ जो उसके दिमाग में घुस के उसको समझ लूंगा। म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ दिल्ली, यार एमसीडी इलेक्शन अभी याद आया तुमको? एमसीडी में क्या टेक था? मैंने तो पूरा पॉडकास्ट कर ली उसके ऊपर, नलिन मेहता के साथ। उसमें डिस्कशन था, मैं आदित्य और नलिन थे। एमसीडी पूरा डिस्कस हो गया है, तो और कितना डिस्कस करना है यार एमसीडी को? हो गया, वो तो बीत गई सो बात गई। मुंबई इंडियंस जीतेगी, हाँ होप तो वही है। वैसे मैं एक मैच भी नहीं देखता आईपीएल का, मगर सपोर्टर पक्का हूं मैं मुंबई का। सो मुंबई रॉक्स, आरसीबी सक्स, बाकी जिसको जो करना है करो। हम्म। इतनी ठंड में बॉम्बे में कौन सी ठंड है? बॉम्बे में कोई ठंड नहीं होती। हम्म। आजकल तो रविश कुमार भी आउट ऑफ कॉन्वर्सेशन है। वो तो आ जाएंगे भाई, वो तो बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं। रविश साहब तो बोलते हैं कि हम लोकसभा में मोदी जी के आगे बोलेंगे। देखो सीएसके के अगेंस्ट में कभी कुछ बोलूंगा नहीं, बिकॉज आई लाइक धोनी। तो मैं उसके बारे में कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा। कैन वी हैव अ डिस्कशन ऑन द स्पीकर फियास्को इन द हाउस ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स? या नो, अमेरिकन को देखने दो, उनके तो रोज ही फियास्को होते हैं। डिड यू सी दैट प्रोफेसर, डिड यू गाइस सी दैट न्यूज of the professor who was fired? Wait, let me open that. Where did it go? Where did it go? It's very interesting news that came. So this is it. Oh यार, वो मैं नहीं पैसे देता इनको। Basically, a lecturer showed a painting of Prophet Muhammad. She lost her job. This happened in Hamline University. And आई एम वेरी सॉरी, मैं फुकड़िया हूँ, मैं नहीं देने वाला हूँ पैसा न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स को। मगर ये आर्टिकल पढ़ लेना, लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट, मैंने झोल करके पढ़ा था। व्हाट्स माई टेक ऑन ब्राजील न्यूज? आई डोंट केयर। दिस इज माई ऑनेस्ट आंसर, आई डोंट केयर। आई genuinely don't care. I have enough issues to worry about in India, its neighborhood, and in countries I mean, I wish the Brazilians well. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have any opinion. I don't care. कुशल, अगर आपकी इंग्लिश खराब है तो आप कनाडा और अमेरिका में कैसे सरवाइव किए थे? मेरी इंग्लिश एक्चुअली में, मैं लिखने में हमेशा ठीक था, मगर मैं अंग्रेजी में, मैं बोलने में हिचकिचाता था। सो आई एक्चुअली स्टार्टेड स्पीकिंग धारा प्रवाह इंग्लिश, फ्लुएंट इंग्लिश जिसको बोलते हैं, ओनली व्हेन आई मूव टू कनाडा। वहाँ पे जाकर थोड़ा मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस आया और मैं थोड़ा खुल के बोलना शुरू किया। नहीं तो उसके पहले तो अपनी हालत तो खस्ता ही थी भाई, झूठ नहीं बोलेंगे। आज भी हमारा अ, ये सोचने का जो जो डिफ़ॉल्ट पोज़ीशन है, मैं तो हिंदी में ही सोचता हूँ। हाँ, ये मुझे मालूम है ईशान, ये बेसिकली WWE चालू है एमसीडी में. I have a very low opinion on Delhi politics and Delhi as a place. To all my Delhi members and fans from Delhi, माफ कर देना, but I really don't like Delhi. I just don't. फरवरी में दिल्ली आ रहा हूँ, मुझे जूते नहीं मार देना. Canada going down with free. Canada never had free speech like the Americans do. See, what Canada has is better than India in terms of freedom of expression, but worse than America. There's only one country on planet Earth that actually has what we can call freedom of expression, where the government, again, do not confuse. Like I showed you this example of um, the professor losing a job in the university because the admin was stupid, because she showed a photo of Prophet Muhammad, which is a recognized historical document in the 14th century, and the professor gave warnings to the students that okay, this is going to be triggering if you are a Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu, blah blah blah. So if you don't want to come, after giving all the caveats, they still fired her because you can't show the photo of Prophet Muhammad. Having said that, the American state can't do anything to you. So a lot of people, they seem to have misunderstood the concept of free speech too. They think free speech is anything goes. No, no, no. Free speech is the government cannot control your speech. Like Twitter as a company can control your speech because they also have that free speech, because under the law they are also treated like an individual entity. So always remember that. People in India don't even understand basic free speech ka question. यार ये क्या है बकवास. कभी हिमाचल आए हो? यस, मैं हिमाचल आया हूँ. शिमला में बहुत बार आए हैं और भी एक दो जगह पे गए हैं. कनाडा में टीनेजर्स का सेक्सुअल ट्रांसमिशन नहीं होता. वो बेसिकली जेंडर ट्रांजिशन जिसको कह रहा हो, ऐसा नहीं होता है. वो इक्का दुक्का हो रहे हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि कनाडा में हर दूसरा बच्चा बोल रहा है मैं आदमी मैं औरत. ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. बट ठीक है, इट इज स्टिल अ प्रॉब्लम. Existentialism, yes, I have. Can I do a podcast about different of freedom? Basically, the difference between freedom of speech in America and India is this: America has it, India doesn't. दैट इज द ओनली डिफरेंस. और कोई डिफरेंस है ही नहीं. इंडिया में है ही नहीं आपको बोलने का अधिकार. आप कुछ बोल ही नहीं सकते हो. अमेरिका में बोल सकते हो आप. अमेरिका में गवर्नमेंट कितनी भी कोशिश कर ले उनको, हाँ, दे माइट twist the arm of, but government did not see. They, even the so called Twitter files dump, as much as people think or a nuclear bomb gir gaya, if you ask me very seriously, it was a nothing burger. Because if you think that Indian companies don't listen to the Indian state when it comes to matters of national security and things like that, then you are also living in some lala land, which I don't know why you live in. But anyways, chalo, I will now wrap up today's monologue. As always, it was fun to talk to all of you. Once again, please support the podcast by becoming a member. This is a members only driven podcast. So, when you become a member of the podcast, is when you actually make this podcast take those risks that I do in terms of subjects. Because not every, the model on YouTube, try and understand, the model on YouTube is talk about clickbaity issues, garner clicks, get subscribers, make money. I'm doing the completely different opposite model of that. I talk about multiple issues, one has nothing to do with the other, nothing that is trending, and then I will do some discussions like once or twice a month. That might be a trending issue, but if you look at my last 10 discussions, you will realize that nothing is trending there. It's books, papers, policy documents, and things like that. Or I responded to this op-ed. So if you try to support this podcast, I will go on doing these things, because I would love to read think tank documents and bring those people and talk to them and expose you to a whole new world of knowledge. नहीं तो क्या होता है मालूम है, ट्विटर पे भी चिल्लाते रहते हो, फेसबुक पे भी चिल्लाते रहते हो और यूट्यूब में भी लोगों को चिल्लाते रहते हो, देखते रहते हो, तो उसका पॉइंट क्या है? सीखना नहीं है क्या? So that is why it doesn't matter if you want to become a member on Fanmo, on Patreon, or on YouTube. Try and become a member. That's what helps me take these risks. As far as the merch is concerned, you can go on kushalmehra.com or you can send your donations through UPI. और 1 रुपया भेजना बंद करो. क्या है 1 रुपया भेजते जा रहे हो सबके सब पागल के जैसे? साला दिमाग खराब हो गया मेरा. 1 1 रुपए की साले मैसेज आते रहते, दिमाग सड़ गया है मेरा. 1 रुपया भेजना बंद करो मेरे को. जो भी कमीने लोग साले शाम शर्मा शो के उधर से सुन के मेरे को 1 1 रुपया भेजते जा रहे हो. पिछले 3 दिया कितना, आज आज क्या है? आज मंडे है ना? आज मंडे है ना? मेरे को दिन का भी ठिकाना नहीं है. और साला थर्सडे शो से फ्राइडे, सैटरडे, संडे और आज मंडे 4 दिन हो गए. दिमाग खराब हो गया. फिर से 70 लोगों ने 1 1 रुपया भेज दिया है. सड़ गया मेरा दिमाग इधर. बंद करो भेजना, इरिटेटिंग लोग. एनीवेज, once again, thank you very much for your questions. I hope I tried to answer them with as much clarity as possible. I tried to give you an honest answer. If it didn't satisfy you, I apologize, but it was unintentional. I tried my best. I will see you next time. I don't know when is the next podcast. I will have to look at my calendar, but until then, take care. Bye.